How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Legendary Loot. My name is Jared, and in today's loot chest we've got Godfall. Fellow content creator Rex has had an exclusive interview with Richard Hain, the technical producer at Counterplay Games, and with this interview we got a lot of brand new information, especially on the loot side of things, as well as a look at a brand new Valorplate. Before we get into all that, if you're excited for Godfall, or you just love loot in games, consider hitting that sub button, as that is all we talk about here, everything loot. Alright, it's time. Sit back, relax, I don't know, grab a drink or some Skittles or something. Let's open up today's loot chest, hope it's not a mimic, and talk about Godfall. First off, we now know that Counterplay Games does not refer to Godfall as a games as a service, meaning, well, I don't really know what that means, because most, if not all, looter games are games as a service because they keep building upon the game post-release. Games like Borderlands 3, Destiny, Warframe, Path of Exile, Rocket League even, a game doesn't have to be free to be a game as a service. Now, while I don't necessarily hate this decision, it mostly just confuses me. I guess I really would have just liked clarification on if they plan to support the game post-launch at all, like with DLC or something like DLC. Instead, we just know that Godfall isn't a game as a service and there's no microtransactions, but we have no idea on long-term updates or sustainability. No microtransactions is great, awesome, but we have heard that before with many other games that end up adding them like a month after release to avoid the internet bashing and the inclusion of them in reviews. On the topic of long-term sustainability, it might not be needed if there is a humongous endgame that is very deep and will take players tons of time to progress through, and that apparently is the case here. Hain says that after you take down the Mad King macros at the top of the Skybreaker monolith, there is way more to do and explore, including more quests, challenges, and progression. He mentioned side quests as well as main quests, so we know those are a thing too, and although the trailers make it seem like the world is kinda linear, Hain says that each realm is very large with a lot to explore, which is great, and something I kinda wasn't expecting just from how the trailers have seemed to make out the world to be. There will be random loot drops in Godfall, thank the Lord. Random enemies can drop powerful gear. Hain's mentioned the epic and legendary rarities, so rarities are also 100% confirmed now, which I love. Get excited. There are also specific loot drops to make sure the player doesn't feel unrewarded for completing quests or defeating bosses. This is good, we've talked about this in other videos. A well-designed loot drop balance is what the game needs to perfect day one. This sounds like a great plan and a good start, it just has to play out. Other than weapons, there are other forms of loot in Godfall. There are different resources in the game that drop from bosses, enemies, and are given as quest rewards. These resources are used at the 7th Sanctum Hub to forge new Valorplates and to upgrade your weapons. Each Valorplate has different resource requirements, and it's up to you to choose which Valorplate you want to unlock. Out of the 12 Valorplates, there are only a couple that are tied directly to story missions. All of the others can be unlocked whenever you want, as long as you have the resources. We also know that if you find a weapon that you want to use throughout the entire game and into the end game, you can if you keep upgrading that weapon and bringing it up to your power level, so on and so forth. So power level is also confirmed, although we don't know anything else about it quite yet, besides the fact that everything you have equipped counts towards your overall power level, like in basically every other loot game. Trinkets, rings, amulets, accessories. More loot. Hain said that Godfall's loot is best described as a tinkerer's dream, stating that experimenting with different equipped trinkets is key and very fun to do, as something as simple as an amulet is very important in Godfall. Instead of amulets and rings being secondary to builds like how they are in other games, in Godfall they can drastically change the way you play or how your build acts. I'm totally down for this. Give me all the customization options. This sounds epic. Speaking of customization, you can also change your Valorplate's color. Not sure how deep that color customization is, but at least we know that it's a thing. A couple other random tidbits of info I gathered from this interview. One, when playing in co-op, everyone gets their own instanced loot. And 2, weapon movesets are tied to the weapons and not the Valorplate, which was hypothesized by Irex in one of his videos and also by me in one of my videos, but it looks like that's not the case. There are 5 weapon classes, so 5 weapon movesets. Valorplates do not affect them at all. And last but certainly not least, we got to look at a brand new Valorplate, Hinterclaw.
From where does discipline spring? The steel resolve to endure? That hunger for perfection. Power taken is power deserved. Ascend to worthiness with Hinterclaw.
This is hands down my favorite so far. This armor looks dope, and it's the first Valorplate we actually have info on in terms of stats and abilities. So, like we know, every Valorplate has one passive ability. Hinterclaw's passive ability gives you plus 10% critical chance, and once Archon mode is activated, Archon mode is like your super, like in Destiny. Once Hinterclaw's Archon mode is activated, it summons 3 allies to fight alongside you. The critical strike chance is increased from 10% to 30%, and critical damage goes up 20% for each enemy you kill while in Archon mode, up to a total of a 200% increase in crit damage. I mean, this Valorplate already sounds stupidly OP. I've always been the guy who runs and guns, goes total offense only, tanks everything. This sounds right up my alley. Counterplay needs to be careful though, because almost every loot game out there that utilizes crit chance always has issues with balancing, and builds focused on crits are always overpowered. I'm just saying. The summons that Hinterclaw does sound pretty sweet. I do wonder what exactly he summons though, but we do know that Hinterclaw is not the only Valorplate that has summoning capabilities, which is nice. And that's all the info I got for you today. If you want to check out the full interview, I'll link the video and Irex's channel down in the description below, so give that a watch if you'd like. Go check out my other Godfall videos if you want to. I've talked about everything there is to know about the game so far. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found any informative value in it, give it a like, as it helps get the video out to more people, and subscribe for more epic loot news on Godfall. And if you subscribe within the next 34 seconds, time is ticking, I will personally deliver this legendary potion to you that once consumed will let you burst through walls like the Kool-Aid Man. What are you waiting for? Who wouldn't want that? This has been your daily dose of legendary loot news, and I hope you have a legendary day.